A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Galatians. Brothers and sisters, it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, one by the slave woman and the other by the freeborn woman. The son of the slave woman was born naturally, the son of the freeborn through a promise. Now this is an allegory. These women represent 2 covenants. One was from Mount Sinai, bearing children for slavery. This is Hagar. But the Jerusalem above is freeborn, and she is our mother. For it is written, "Rejoice, you barren one, who bore no children. Break forth and shout, you who are not in labor. For more numerous are the children of the deserted one than of her who has a husband." Therefore, brothers and sisters, we are children not of the slave woman, but of the freeborn woman. For freedom, Christ set us free. So stand firm and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm, the response is, "Blessed be the name of the Lord forever." Praise, you servants of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord, both now and forever. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever. From the rising to the setting of the sun is the name of the Lord to be praised. High above all nations is the Lord, above the heavens is his glory. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever. Who is like the Lord our God, who looks upon the heavens and the earth below? He raises up the lowly from the dust. From the dunghill he lifts up the poor. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While still more people gathered in the crowd, Jesus said to them, "This generation is an evil generation. It seeks a sign, but no sign will be given it, except the sign of Jonah. Just as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so will the Son of Man be to this generation. At the judgment, the Queen of the South will rise with the men of this generation, and she will condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and there is something greater than Solomon here. At the judgment, the men of Nineveh will arise with this generation and condemn it, because at the preaching of Jonah they repented, and there is something greater than Jonah here." The Gospel of the Lord.
The first reading comes from Galatians 4:22 to 24, 26 to 27, and 31 to 5:1. We remember that Paul had been attacked by the Jewish Christian missionaries from Jerusalem, claiming that he had rejected Jewish ways. Well, in this particular argument, Paul shows the use of Midrash to make a comparison between the 2 children that Abraham had, the son by Hagar, who was named Ishmael, and the son by Sarah, who was named Isaac. One was a son of slavery, one was a son of a free woman. The son of the free woman received the promise. The son of the slave woman had to be sent away into the desert. This represents the 2 covenants. The one covenant, represented by Mount Sinai, is one of slavery, whereas the other covenant, represented by the heavenly Jerusalem, is a covenant of freedom, because God has called us to be free. We're no longer to subject ourselves to the slavery of the law, but rather we're to live in God's freedom. Now, Paul is going to have to explain what that freedom means. Freedom doesn't mean that we get to do whatever we want. That would be another type of slavery, a slavery to our passions. Rather, freedom means to be able to love. The Gospel is from Luke 11:29 to 32. Jesus speaks about the fact that the people are asking for a sign, but the only sign they'll receive is the sign of Jonah. Now, the sign of Jonah could be interpreted in one of 2 ways. It could be the fact that Jesus would be buried in the ground for 3 days, just as Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days. Or it could be the fact that Jonah went through the city of Nineveh, and he had only reached 1/3 of the distance through the city when the people had already converted, and this was a pagan people. Jesus in the Gospel of Luke compares the faith of the pagans, which at times is much greater than the faith of the Jews. And so we hear that the present generation to which Jesus is preaching will be condemned, because they didn't turn their hearts to him. Furthermore, they didn't recognize his wisdom. The Queen of Sheba came all the way from the south to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Jesus says, you have one greater than Solomon here in your midst, and they're not willing to convert. People wanted a sign, something absolute, something analytic, something that would prove that Jesus was what he said he was. But faith is not a question of absolute certainty in the sense of analytic proof, but rather absolute certainty in the sense of giving our all and trusting. And may God bless us.